Western Europe, 18th century. This time and place has commonly been marked as the Age of Enlightenment. In its heyday, science flourished and the concept of human reason found its roots among the social elite. This is something every historian knows. What many of them may not be aware of, however, is that in the time when the great thinkers had dared to know, there were other great thinkers who refused to know. They were the pioneers of the period known as the Age of Delightenment. This is their story.
In the beginning of the 1500s, European ideas were based on Aristotelian concepts that had been around since the 4th century BC. He saw the earth to be fixed, and revolving around it were these crystal spheres successively holding the moon, the sun, the planets, and the stars. Beyond the spheres were the heavens, the home of God and the land of salvation. This idea was accepted and remained unchanged for so many years because essentially it made sense. It appeased the masses because it explained what people saw, but also it appeased the powerful Christian religion and the church at the time because it made humans the center of the universe and gave a scientific house to God.
Indeed, this idea of a geocentric universe was very comforting. But this feeling did not last long, for in 1543, Nicholas Copernicus had published his On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres, arguing for a heliocentric universe. Then, René Descartes developed his ideas of deductive reasoning and doubt, while Francis Bacon fostered the concepts of induction and empiricism. Truly, these numerous blows by the growing scientific revolution shook the traditional foundations of knowledge. Nonetheless, a very select few, continued to follow the Aristotelian ways due to its tremendous reputation. Their ideas spread like cold syrup, and what followed was a milestone event for the Delightenment, the 1715 Conference of Paris. Non-thinkers, or idiots as they came to be called, met here to talk, and not talk, about the direction of the emerging movement.
Oh, hey there. We met in Paris. The goal was not just to discuss, but also to have discussions. Many of us were young, and none of us knew what would happen. But all of us knew we hated the so-called social intellectuals. Newton, with his Principia, was crazy to create some invisible gavetry, and Locke, with his essay concerning human understanding, made no sense comparing people to rocks. This hatred, we had to turn into ideas. That process was difficult because not many of us were literate, and even less could write. Still, after a month we had a list, and the tenets roughly as this. Formal education was bad, communication was confusing, and should be avoided. Not thinking was best, irrationality was second best, reason was unreasonable compared to faith, and finally, no new ideas, because the ones we already had were pretty good.
Pretty good, this new idea was. However, due to the principles that had been formulated, the idiots were literally not to be heard from for the next 35 years. So what got them riled up enough to break their stern silence? It was none other than the shocking popularity of the Enlightenment, another movement that had been hiding in plain sight. Actually, it wasn't really hiding at all. Its leading thinkers, or philosophers as they called themselves, were known throughout the greater European continent for promoting reason and tolerance.
Well, you may not know it, but life has been tough as a philosopher. Sure, everyone you meet by my candidate criticized the church, I crossed at Liem and what have you. But while I have fun doing that, I did not have fun with my prison term in 17, or the beating I took in the year 26. Hey, what can I say? Sometimes the law is harsh. But what's the best thing you can hope for other than a good monarch and laws protecting freedom?
I go west to get goods to sell in home. Popular item is poster of Manboy, Voltaire, with word Mr. Enlightenment. Strange man, but gets money.
Money was not of great concern to the philosophers, who were predominantly of great wealth and with much leisure time. They concerned themselves more with influencing only the public, or the economic and social elites. Commoners, on the other hand, were not as significant to the great thinkers. In fact, philosophers shunned the common people, believing they would forever rot in superstition and confusion. Yet in this low part of society was exactly where the idiots resided. With all that was going on, the reappearing idiots were ready to fight back.
My husband Raskus had not spoken more than a sentence to me through our entire marriage. I was at loss of my own words when he began speaking again. The great idiot he was, though he could not speak much more than gibberish.
With forces just as fierce as Raskus and twice as incomprehensible, the ill wills between philosophes and idiots were high. Many philosophes failed to see the approaching storm, as they had never known that the phrase Delightenment could or was a real English word. The event that broke the tension was the completion of Diderot's Encyclopedia in 1765, a summation of all things knowledgeable. That same year, the fights known collectively as the War of the Streets took place. Many history textbooks attribute the rise in random street fights to no specific explanation other than an odd occurrence. The real reason was that the philosophes didn't talk about the street fights, and the idiots didn't talk about the street fights. They simply fought. That's cool.
I was making shoes like every other day when I took a break and walked out into the street. Suddenly I was pushed down by these two quarreling men, one very clean and the other somewhat untidy. The clean one said, "Be reasonable," to which the untidy one said something I could not understand, and then pushed him aggressively. He must have said, "I want you to hit me as hard as you can," because that is exactly what the clean man did. So as the crowd drew, I returned to my shop because I was afraid someone might steal my souls.
With small-scale street fighting rampant, both sides were chipping away at the tree trunks of society with a wooden toothpick. This would carry on for the next year. None are recorded to have died, although many are known to have lost their minds over the sheer absurdity of the situation. Although few in the general populace noticed that there was an ideological war about them, it soon ended in 1767 with the Corner Compromise, a treaty with an unusual story. According to the story, a radical idiot and a radical philosophe were at a street corner, in conversation before a fight. They unknowingly came to an agreement on the subject of the best bakery in the city. From this common ground, they wrote up an agreement that appeased both sides entirely. Although the exact contents of this document are not known, much has been inferred, the most significant being that the Delightenment would be forever stricken from the records, which accounts for it not appearing in any modern textbooks. As such, little to no people can vouch for its existence. So, what do you know about the Delightenment?
I don't know. Don't you mean the Enlightenment?
So, what do you know about the Delightenment?
Oh, the 1601?
No.
Oh, 1786.
No.
1632.
Never mind. So, what do you guys know about the Delightenment?
Delightenment? Or Delightenment? What did is that the word? Isn't that just enlightenment? It's hyphenated, it's a single word. Because de-enlightenment is not. Look, you can just there's the Webster.
So, what do you know about the Delightenment?
So, what do you know about the Delightenment?
Is that on the test?
Though we may never know all there is to know about the age of Delightenment, perhaps that is exactly how the idiots wanted it to be. Perhaps this ignorance is for the best. One, two. Did you finish?